Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about binders. Now, like a shit hits the fan binder. So it's not maybe the sexiest thing you ever heard about, but I gotta say this would be crucial to your preps.
Right. This is the boring organizing part of prepping that nobody likes to talk about, right? This is the stuff you need the nerds in the family to help you out with this one.
Right. That's it. So the thing is, though, yeah, if you're OCD, this is the episode for you. But I got to say, this is probably one of the best things you can do for your family where, you know, you really get them on board and caught up with where things are and what to do if there's an emergency. You got to realize a lot of things can happen while you're away at work, while you're out of town, while you're, you know, off doing business somewhere, that kind of thing. And people are going to have to hold down the fort. And a lot of times people kind of half listen when you're preaching about, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. Or I know he told me I had to start the generator, but I don't know how. This binder is going to be the solution for that. Oh, I should go out and get some stuff, but I have no idea what to get at the grocery store when the end of the world is going to be tomorrow. That's where this binder is going to come into play. So we're going to see what we can do with that and get you guys straight. Now, first, I'm going to talk about some simple basics that people tend to overlook. And, you know, a lot of people, as you get older and it comes to like the whole end of life thing, people have no idea when they go in how to deal with your mess that you're leaving behind.
Right.
And that would be a great place to start with this binder as well. And you might even break it into two binders. But what I would say is you should have a binder where you cover your basic info. Like, hey, these are where my bank accounts are. Here are the bank account numbers. They're at this bank, this bank, this bank. Maybe you even put the bank phone number there, right? If it's not obvious to everyone in the town, you know, if it's the local bank that everybody in the family uses, probably not as crucial to have the specific info. Have whatever loans you have listed.
Right. That's
that
good.
Kind of thing in there. I have utilities, right? Where are your utilities and what are your account numbers? So, you know, your electric company, your gas company, your water bill, your whatever. Where does that stuff come from? Also, your internet, your Netflix, your whatever. Maybe your vehicle registrations and titles to your vehicles, that kind of stuff.
Deed to the house.
So even if those specific items aren't in the binder, maybe put the location, you know, hey, all the titles are in this, you know, box over here. Then all your online info, your contacts, your whatever. Then maybe some family contacts, lists of medications. You might also want to put like your gun stamps in there, right? So when the ATF kicks in my door and they go up to the gun safe and they're like, oh, well, look at all these suppressors and short barrel rifles and and God knows what, where you're not allowed to have these things. And then you can kind of, oh no, the stamps are right here.
Yeah, if they let you talk and your face isn't stuffed in the
Right.
mud and you're with
Well,
your
the
hands behind
dog's
your
already
back
dead
already.
and you're zip tied and God knows what. Right. So, I mean, what else would you, I went online and I was checking out a, a way to do this. Cause I was like, oh, does somebody have a sample? And on Etsy, somebody had the what if binder, and that basically covered all of what we had talked about so far. Like that, all that basic general info. And they had, it was like $14. And I understand you're getting a PDF download for $14. But when you think of how useful and how much that saves you time in organizing, it was kind of worth it to me. Yeah. Obviously,
and
it's something
if you're a crazy person, or if you're not a crazy person, you can go to FEMA's website and they have multiple similar forms like that you can print out.
Okay.
If you're not a crazy person and you're not scared about the government watching you and wondering what you're doing. Now,
here's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I mean, I think all that stuff is pretty crucial and will actually help.
Right.
I think it's very useful for your family to know where and what things are. But as a prepper and a end of the world as we know it emergency, maybe, this stuff isn't as priority. But I mean, I imagine dying is pretty much the end of the world, right? I mean, that sounds like a big one.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't think about these types of things. You probably should at least write down on a napkin somewhere, like a living will. Do you want people to unplug you? You know what I mean? For me, even if it's costing, $100,000 a day and only my pinky toenail is still alive, I want you to keep me on that ventilator, man. I want my whole family to go bankrupt trying to keep me alive. But you know what I mean? That's your thing. So living will and just your regular will, life insurance policies, all that sort of stuff it's hard to find when the emergency happens. You don't expect those things to happen, and it happens to everybody.
Now, Kevin, Uncle Whiskey wanted to point out that you should be going to the library when you want to look up all your shady stuff.
That's smart. That's smart.
That's, secret of the pros right
they
there.
have you write your name down on a little notepad at the library, but you can write anybody's name.
Yeah, who knew, right? Well, just put Uncle Whiskey. They'll know right away.
They'll know who to go to.
Yeah, I know that guy. He's the one listening to that damn podcast that keeps bothering us. So, all right. So now kind of more onto the prepper scary side of it. I would actually have maps. If you have a bug out location, I would have maps to that bug out location and all kind of in that area. Right. But I would also have maps of awesome if you have maps of your property. Maybe even hand-drawn map of your property, and locations, things like that. And, if you have any geological maps, I know I looked in ordering them. They were like $19 and I could kind of get like the 5 properties around me in one section, which to me is kind of what I'd want. I mean, even more than mine, that's better. But if you have a map of your county, stuff like that, any of that stuff would be great in this binder and ready to have there. Now, if you guys have any kind of meeting spots or things like, hey, if the world ends, we're all going to go to Johnny's house. People talk about, oh, when we have a fire, we're all going to meet by that tree or by next, whatever. So that way people don't get lost. I don't think people plan anymore like that. Was that a thing in the past? Like in the 70s?
That's over. People don't plan for house fires and things like that anymore.
Okay.
They don't even tell kids to not get candy from strangers.
No, they're whatever.
No.
Especially if it's like some big like demon looking person all dressed up with the horns out of their head. And,
I mean, I tell my kids to get, free candy's free candy. You know what I'm saying?
If they bring you some.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair. So any kind of meeting spot though, like even, hey, if something bad happened and you're at school and there's a big emergency, I'm going to come get you. I need you waiting wherever. These
Right.
things, all these things that you discuss should be in this binder so people know how to, hey, this is how I find them or where I'm going to meet up.
Yeah, I
Because it's
think.
hard in a stressful time to remember everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think people people rely a lot on cell phones, but I
Okay.
remember right after September 11th, I was in New Jersey, and there was everything was busy. There was no connecting to anybody on a cell phone.
Right.
You know, I called multiple people, and none of the calls went through.
Yeah,
So
no, that's very concerning when you're in a stressful situation and you just can't get in touch with the people you're worried about and whatever. And having a plan in place and knowing that people are going to do things. When you all discuss this stuff, it's going to make, things a lot more peace of mind, a lot
right,
easier for you to kind of deal with. So that's something you really want to consider. The next thing I would think about is maybe having emergency action steps. Now,
right,
these are in my mind things like, hey, if war with Russia is imminent, we're there's been a cyber attack and some things don't work. The grid's kind of iffy. We don't know. What would you do? These are those things, like maybe going to the grocery store and seeing if you can stock up, that kind
right.
of thing.
Right. You
I
should be
wouldn't,
stocked up, but I mean, sometimes it's nice to have some fresh vegetables
if
for
you had
the
that
first
little
week.
extra, hey, the stock market crashed and everything just went to, zero and it's the worst crash we've ever had, or inflation's happening and the dollar's out of control, but you can somehow still go to the grocery store. And I mean, sometimes these things happen suddenly.
Right.
So my list would be things like, dry goods in bulk, like rice, flour, salt, sugar, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Think like feminine hygiene, deodorant, all hygiene stuff in general, really. Bar soap, regular
Right.
soap, toilet paper, paper towels, that kind of stuff. And then think like broader, like buckets, storage containers, matches, lighters,
Mm-hmm.
canned goods, anything that's really shelf stable. I know when COVID happened and we couldn't get to the stores, bread was a big thing
I
that
remember that.
people
Yeah.
like kind of missed and didn't have or couldn't get. And it was like you're always kind of running out of bread. So obviously bread's not a long-term storage thing, but it might be a good starting point.
Yeah. It turns
Yeah,
out it's kind of hard to make bread on your propane grill.
right. Anything you can use long term, I would also think about coffee.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe another emergency action step would be like gas cans.
Mm-hmm.
And a big
Filling the
thing
gas
people
cans.
don't think about is when a crisis happens, getting gas cans can
Mm-hmm.
be very
Right.
difficult.
Right. Everybody else has the same idea as you. If you
Right.
don't have the cans to fill up, you're not going to find one, And, a lot of people will buy the gas cans. You should get them at a hardware store. You can get them at a gas station, but they know if you're getting it at the gas station, it's probably because you ran out of gas, and
You're
they'll charge you
desperate.
$40 for a 2-gallon
Yeah.
thing of gas.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. Next, so I mean, any other kind of like action steps?
Yeah, I mean that sort of stuff is good to plan out. If you think about a lot of these emergencies that happen, happen. You see it coming over the course of a couple of days, and you can kind of get prepared.
Yeah.
But things that happen like all of a sudden, like cyber attack, electrical, power goes down, nuclear attack, that sort of stuff. There's some immediate action stuff that you want to take, and you want to have those steps laid out,
Right.
like just filling up containers with water,
Right.
packing your refrigerator and not opening it, keeping things cold as long as possible is It's important, man. That
Right.
stuff in the freezer starts thawing out fast.
Maybe it's packing a go bag. You know, maybe your family plan is, hey, we're going up to our cabin wherever, and somebody getting things organized and together. Even if that means, hey, my bags are all packed and I'm ready. I have my emergency bags, but maybe that means loading it into the Suburban and getting things ready.
Right.
Or, you know, whatever. Maybe it's add those personal items that you wear every day, your favorite shirt or whatever, throw those things together so you're ready to go.
Right.
I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I mean, me personally, you know, my go bag has all my basics in it, but there's going to be a couple of things that I want to throw in there on my way out the door. You know, maybe I want to get some fresh batteries and just chuck it in the bag with me. You know, maybe I want to get some food that I want to throw in there that, you know, maybe would be perishable long term, but, you know, for a week or so is good. You know, throw some granola bars and some stuff like that in there on your way out the door. You might want to think about what's in your bag and what perishable stuff you might want to stuff in the bag on your way out. I know I've got some food in my bug out bag, but it's not really, you know, it's food for a day or two. It's not really a lot of stuff. And throwing a couple of cans in there, if you're getting in your car, especially, you know, throwing a couple of that stuff in there might be a big help. I have a lot of Rubbermaid containers that have different stuff, you know, cook gear, tents, sleeping bags. You know, I have all that stuff labeled in the garage, and that way, you know, I'm going on a camping trip. It's easy to find, but also in an emergency situation, I don't have to go through opening every container up looking for everything.
Right.
That's another thing I want to talk about is labeling, right? So you might know which breaker goes to your kitchen. You know, you might, you know, label your breaker box, label your containers. You know, you might know where these things are, but you might not be the one trying to grab it. You don't want to be, you know, talking to, you know, your son or your daughter on the cell phone that's cutting in and out, trying to describe where to go to get what, you know. You want to be able to have this set up so that somebody else in your family can easily find and locate the things they're looking for. Right.
Well, I actually have a kind of another section in my manual, and I kind of put this one at the last. We're kind of jumping ahead, but like how-to manuals are great. So how to start the generator. Hey, the generator's over here. It needs to be plugged into this outlet, and having things kind of marked or maybe a picture of it in the binder, things like that. Some way that people can identify which one. And maybe that means you take the wife out and you say, hey, look, this is the receptacle for the generator. And then, you know, she'll know, hey, that's where I got to go. Or maybe she set it up and she's showing you. I don't know. It's whoever's really into the, you know, being prepared, whoever's, you know, taking action.
And the truth is guys are really excited about prepping when it comes to gear, when it comes to, you know, buying new firearms or ammo and that sort of stuff. But a lot of the time it's the women that are actually keeping things organized. I know 9 times out of 10, if I can't find something and I ask my wife, she dumbass, it's right on the shelf, right there, you know? Right. Yeah, and that's just the case with a lot of people. So women just seem to be better at remembering where things are. And being organized. Exactly. Right. And maybe that's sexist to say, but you know,
Kevin, you're a pig.
If you're married, you probably deal with the same shit.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing I would say, like storing water. Hey, fill up the washing machine, fill up the water bob and put it in the bathtub. You know, these are things that should be in the how-to manual. Hey, right underneath the bathroom cabinet is the water bob box right there next to the tub. Just pull it out and throw it in. And, you know, but these are things that people might not be thinking about in a stressful time, and having that information laid out and clear for everybody to just kind of, move in and do things, that's going to be a big help. Other how-to things might be like security. You might talk about, hey, look, I have a bunch of sheets of plywood that are the right size for our windows. If things are really bad, this is what you would do.
Right.
What I would do is I would have specific emergencies outlined in the binder. And then I would say, hey, if this happens, you might want to do the security steps in the how-to section, right? And that might be, do section A where, one level of security. Like you don't want to put plywood screwed into the front of your house over the windows if, there's a forest fire 50 miles away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how fast that stuff moves, honestly. But
you know
what I mean? If it's not imminent.
There's a level of locking all the doors and locking all the windows.
Right.
And, there's a difference. There's grades there. You know what I mean? Somebody, you heard, prison break or something, a couple of guys out running around, lock the doors and windows. You don't necessarily have to go out and get the plywood over the windows just yet, but hurricanes come and that's a different story.
Right, exactly. And then, and that's it. And you think about, implement section, whatever. I mean, it's how complicated you want to make it. But we did a lot of these things in the military where we'd have standard operating procedures and you'd have books and things. And these are very logical steps. And especially where everybody's not as familiar with everything as you might be. I mean, we all, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, set up an LPOP, lookout post, listening post, right? Or listening post, lookout post, whatever. And so anyway, those are the kind of things that, you have in these binders, but it's like, hey, maybe take this step. Other how-to, you could talk about gardening. Hey, look, I have all these emergency seeds set up over here. Here's where you do it. Somebody mentioned in the comments about having a manual for, local edible plants, foraging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having a list of what's available there might be a great thing to throw in this binder. It's something you can do. What I actually do is I reference books that I have in the library, and I have all the prepper books kind of in like one or two bookshelves, and where they're all in one section. And therefore I can say, hey, go grab this book, go grab this book for setting up the garden. Go grab this book for how to take care of the animals if something happens. Grab this book for the first aid if, you're having some kind of issue there. These, having a reference to the library and maybe even a list of all the books. Mm-hmm. And you could even put in parentheses, hey, this one's best for this. This has a great chapter on, XYZ that you might want to know about. Those are the kind of things that are really going to be helpful. Now, after that, after you have your specific manuals, then let's talk about specific events, things that might happen.
Right.
I know I have like in a nuclear disaster, I found a manual that I printed out, and I actually wrote down a website I'm going to try and dig up for you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can actually go online with FEMA, print out, or you can just ask them, they'll mail all that stuff out to you. Specific disaster specific, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes even. They have, every preposterous scenario that you could think of, they have, a set of guidelines on what to do and how to keep yourself safe and your family safe.
So
FEMA is not, I'm not the biggest fan of FEMA, but they spend a lot of money and, spend a lot of money organizing stuff and making sure that they have SOPs for almost every situation. And you can get those. They're free. The government they spend your tax money on it and you can get it. So it's just heads up on that.
Right. So for a nuclear disaster, I actually downloaded a big pamphlet that's freaking amazing. And the website is KI4U.
All right.
And if you go there, it's like you swear that somebody set this up in the 80s using DOS. But, whatever. But no joke, it has an outline of everything you need to know in the event of a nuclear disaster and what you should be worried about, what the, shelf life or radiation or whatever.
Right.
Life cycle. Half-life. That's the one. That kind of thing. How you can secure your house to not be affected, stuff like that. Those are the kind of things that you'd want inside this binder. A big thing you might want to have a list for with specific steps would be if there's a wildfire. I mean, that would probably never happen where there's like mass wildfires, but hypothetically, it could.
It could happen.
It could happen. I don't know. I see Kevin rolling his eyes. He's up in New York there.
It was pretty nasty out here for a couple of days with that stuff. You could barely go outside without, getting a sore throat and coughing. It was serious down here. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a news story yesterday when I was doing some research, and there was a news story, and they were like, there's a silver lining to these forest fires. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to know what that is. Mm-hmm. And they were like, New Yorkers are actually talking to each other. We have something to talk about in New York City.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And normally I just go to work and I don't speak a word to anybody. But now I look over to the person next to me and say, yeah, this is bad.
It's crazy.
So we're really getting that close connection, And I'm like, yeah, you guys are awesome up in New York.
Yeah. A bunch of assholes up here.
So, anyway, tornadoes. Tornadoes, if they're prevalent in your area, and even in my area, they're actually a little bit less prevalent, but we get a tornado warning maybe once a year. And we definitely have high winds, but there is a decent amount of forest around me that tends to slow it down. So anyway, tornadoes, having a shelter and a strategy for that. Things, you always see things exploding and ripping apart in a tornado because they're not secured the way they should be. Maybe it's, hey, go take that glass patio set and put it under the cover or whatever, because we're going to have real high winds for a hurricane or whatever. These might be steps that you do that if you're out of town would be great if the family handled and people knew what to do.
And a lot of these things are specific to your house. You know what I mean? I can't tell you everything that you need to do. It's specific to your location in your house. And it's kind of, you kind of have to come up with a plan for you specifically, and for your family members. Maybe your kids are always on top of that sort of stuff. Maybe you've been teaching them everything they need to know and running drills. Maybe you've got, a lazy teenage daughter that never leaves the bedroom, and you have to be a little bit more specific about things that need to get done, right?
So they should wash the dishes.
Jesus. That's always it's always a nightmare, right?
Oh, I should have run the dishwasher. I don't know. Anyway, earthquakes, blizzards, droughts, hurricanes, power outage, house fire, right? Where to, anything, these steps, maybe even if it's just grab the binder and go, and then they can kind of rethink, all this stuff was here. Oh, tell the firemen that the big safe full of ammo is over there. Whatever. It turns out it's not as bad as you think when you have ammo exploding in a fire. But anyway.
It doesn't really do much, does it?
But anyway, civil unrest might be something a little more hardcore, for you more crazy preppers, the ones that have gone off the deep end.
Right.
Zombies, right? Somebody mentioned that. That's always something.
It's important. No, and he does bring up a good point. If you prepare for the zombie invasion, just about everything is covered, right? So, I mean, those types of things. I know that there's what was the name of the town? There's a town that was running drills, like a zombie apocalypse drill. And it was basically getting all the firefighters and the EMTs and everything like that. Yeah. And they just ran a drill for that because you're prepared for that, and you're preparing for just about everything,
Right.
You see where the mistakes are.
Right. No, that's right. So biological threats,
Hmm.
closing things up, having maybe some plastic and a way to cover up where, hey, the roll of plastic and the staple gun are over here. Cover
Yeah.
all the windows and the door seals.
Yeah. Duct tape and trash bags can go a long way.
And then my favorite, electromagnetic pulse and CMEs.
Yeah. That's always
So,
the one
well,
Chuck's worried about.
the theme of prepper novels is always seems to be EMPs.
EMPs.
And,
Yeah.
and the thing is, because that's one of the toughest where, all of a sudden you can't drive your car home, maybe, or you can't,
Right.
use your cell phone to call anybody. Everything just stops. And so even being 20 miles from home becomes a critical, devastating thing. It might be an 11-hour walk to
Right.
get back to your house. That's a big deal. I read an audio book or the other day that basically there was an attack on all the refineries, and I think they blew up some dams and things like that. That's one of the things they're always worried about with ISIS and stuff. And because of that, the government basically shut down all the gas stations, and we're like, no, the government gets all the gas because
Right.
we need it to handle emergency stuff. So people who were out traveling, if you didn't have the full tank of gas, you were kind of stuck. But there you have like a little leeway. You can kind of, in theory, you have a gas tank full, right? Or
Hmm.
close. Some of us keep our gas tanks on the fuller end. I know some of us don't. But these are, things that you need to consider, things that should be in the binder, be prepared for, and just, have a plan, have action steps that everybody can do.
Hmm. Right.
Any more thoughts?
I think that covers a lot of what a lot of what we want to talk about. All this boring stuff. So,
It is.
um, that's the type of stuff though that's really going to save your ass.
Yeah.
The boring stuff. Nobody wants to spend a day organizing things. That sounds like a nightmare for me. But the fact of the
Right.
matter is, having that stuff when you need it and being able to locate it saves
Right.
a lot of stress.
That's one of the things. I mean, I was like, oh, who's going to search on YouTube about, that an S.H.T.F binder or an emergency binder, or
Right.
who's going to download that podcast? It's one of those things that, well, it's not sexy, it's not whatever, but to me, this is one of the most practical, things that you can really do.
Hmm.
You
Right.
know,
Right. Something and I hear a lot of people talking about all the stuff that they do for prepping, and good stuff. I'm not downplaying anybody going the extra mile, but the fact of the matter is 10% of the work gets you 90% prepared. You know what I mean?
right,
Getting 2 weeks worth of food and getting your basics sorted out, that's going to take you through 90% of the emergencies that you're going to have. Everybody wants to load up on firearms and ammo and be all stocked
yeah,
up, and then they don't have a snow shovel when the blizzard happens.
yeah,
It's that sort of stuff that I'm talking about, and the basics like that. Knowing where your birth certificate and passport is, that's a big deal.
right. And that's the thing. I think when you lay it out and you put it in a binder and you organize it and you sit down and have a discussion with the wife, these are the kind of things that you can do that will actually make you think about it and say, hey, do we have it all in one place? Is it organized? Do we even know where that is? And it kind of steers you in the direction into things that you might need to give a little bit more attention. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hey, I think we really need to have a better water plan. We really don't have a water plan of where we're going to get water in a long-term emergency.
Right.
And, something like that, just thinking about it, you might be able to deal with some solutions right now, even if it's like a water catchment system. I mean, there's got to be something. But I got to say, a water catchment system is going to be tough to, to be sustainable in a lot of areas. You might need more. I'd say, especially if you're planning on flushing toilets or, things like that. So, and, having livestock that you got to feed. You might have a whole section on taking care of the livestock. Again, what if you're just, you unexpectedly people die or something like that? Who's going to, can they take care of your livestock? Is there a plan? I mean, some people don't care, but maybe you do care. Maybe you have your dog's info,
I don't give
your
a shit
dog's
what happens
vet.
to anybody
You're
else.
not going to worry about none of it, are you?
That's why I don't waste money on life insurance.
Because they're not going to say anything to you about it.
Yep.
Oh, you didn't have life insurance. You're a jerk. Nope.
Yep.
Not really a problem, right?
Yep. Not going to be a problem for me. That's a joke, obviously. That's all stuff that's important.
Oh, that is important?
Yeah.
You're sending out the wrong attitude to people?
Mm-hmm. Just make sure you have somebody lined up to clear your browser history when you die. That's
the key.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I know they sell badges for that to put on your, your body armor or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
On the bags. A lot of guys, don't forget to clear my browser history.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, that's good. But, you can't think of everything. But that's the beauty is if you lay it out early on and you have it organized and you have a plan when something, stressful happens and, that kind of thing, then it really makes a difference where it's easy to go to. It's easy to get to the information. It's easy to, go and get the answers that you need. And that's the beauty of it. So anyway, you were saying New York's kicking your butt. Now you guys are getting better with the smoke or they put the fires out or what?
It's pretty much cleared up by now. Wednesday, Thursday was pretty bad up here. Yeah. I mean, the sun was red, through all the smoke. It was a little wild. I have allergies and I take allergy medication and that kind of saved me from dealing with most of it. But I know the missus was feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about in the news lately? Big news dump on Friday, the Friday news dump that they try and do.
Yep.
All that sort of stuff going on. That's definitely interesting. Another big deal though, that I'm going to skip right over that and talk about Ukraine. So the counteroffensive is potentially starting right now. They had they had some serious losses on the Ukrainian side, like right off the bat. But I think that's to be expected when you're trying to punch through your fortified front lines. But there's not a lot of news on it. There's a lot of it's because it's being blacked out by Ukraine. You know what I mean? They're not telling everybody what they're doing and what's happening, which is smart. That's a typical thing you would do if you're starting a surprise attack. You don't want to just broadcast everything that you're doing. But
we're still paying for it though, right?
If you're paying attention, there's a lot out there. We're going to be paying for some F-15s apparently too. We'll see what happens. Everybody's talking about Crimea and saying that if Ukraine does invade Crimea, that's it. It's tactical nuke time for Russia. That's what they've been saying, but who knows what's going to happen. I know. I mean, what are you going to do? Somebody stole Colorado from us, I don't know. Will we nuke it? I don't know.
I don't know. So with that, you guys want to make sure you're checking out the YouTube channel. We upgraded some cameras. Now you can see Kevin's scary face.
Mm-hmm.
I laid off the coffee, so maybe a little less fidgety. Who knows? Things are all on the up. You have questions, concerns, things you want to hear us talk about, you can email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. You can get a badass coffee mug or some cool badass gear at preppingbadass.com.
That's right.
We also
like
have
this one.
email list that you can sign up for. So a lot of cool things out there. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you haven't checked that out, there's a lot of other episodes with a lot of great information if you're just watching it on YouTube and vice versa. Anyway, we appreciate comments, likes, shares, subscribe, all that. That really helps. We appreciate it. And otherwise, I would say stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.